an occasional
Yeah.
accidental, you know.
That's not a big deal.
We try not to, but whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. All right. Everything's going.
when
Get the
Beeple's on the
music.
show, we can't help it.
It's true. It's gonna happen. All right. Going.
Who's gonna be first? Oh, it's me.
Ooh, snap. Bat signal. Bat signal's out. It's on. Chris, Vito, Jeff, Todd.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, internets. Go to our faces here. What's up, everybody? I see y'all are streaming in here. Jacob, happy Monday. We're getting set up here. I think we're just about ready to go. We got all our things working.
Turn off my Slack to not disturb me for 2 hours. I'm almost all the way caught up on all my channels. I spent the weekend, you know, reading
Oh my gosh.
all the channels.
Oh my.
I don't know how you do that, man. We had
Free.
last week. You know how it tops out at 10,000 messages on the free plan or whatever.
Yeah.
When I went to post the bat signal, the one from the week before was already gone, meaning we hit 10,000 messages in a week.
Yeah. Wait till tomorrow.
Mm.
The
People,
politics channel alone is gonna blow it all up.
dude, mark myself safe from.
Right?
Yeah.
From the Trump train.
Yeah, you're gonna see a lot of that. Mark myself safe. All right, I think we're good. I'm gonna start my recording. If y'all want to start your recordings going as well, check. I'm rolling. We'll do a little sync
Yep.
clap as soon
I
as we're
will-
rolling.
1 second. Check. Cool. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good
All
too.
right, we're
I'm
gonna
on
do
the
a
right microphone, right, Dave?
yeah, you're good.
Okay, good.
It's gonna be a sync clap. It'll be 1, 2, 3 clap. All right. Get ready. 1, 2, 3. Awesome.
Perfect.
And
It is
okay.
very busy in the Slack. It's just because we got so many people, which is fine. The thing is,
Mhm.
it's busy. It's not as busy in each of the channels, you know. But when you have every single channel notifications on,
Why
yeah,
do
it
you
seems
do that to yourself?
Definitely very busy.
Why
so
do you do that to yourself, dude?
it's fine.
Why
I
do
like
you
being
hate
a part
yourself,
of the conversation. I'm telling you, if I don't do it, then I will not. I will completely ignore the Slack,
Matt? You know,
and I don't like that.
our messages on the Slack are up to 1.06 million messages total.
Nice.
That's
Nice.
insane.
Yeah.
A million messages. All right. So that's good to go. I'm rolling. Y'all are rolling. We're synced. I think
am
we're
rolling.
good.
Yes.
And so I'm going to go ahead and start this thing. So here we go. I feel like, is my camera off here? I feel like I'm usually a little bit more this direction. Yeah, that works. Okay,
That's fine. Yeah.
here we go. What up and welcome to another Mograph Mocast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt, and joining us today is the super talented Mr. Calder Moore.
Hey guys.
And Mograph is a supplement to our site, mograph.com, which is a motion graphics tutorial site with tutorials, plugins, podcasts, and other Mograph stuff. And on the show, we talk about everything ranging from motion graphics to Cinema 4D, After Effects, plugins, render engines, doing business, doing taxes, being a contractor, or working for the man, you can email us info@mograph.com. Let us know what you think about the show. Questions, comments, concerns, queries, grievances, show topic ideas, artist suggestions. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, mograph.com. Check us out. Hit us up. Check out our Insta stories and stuff. Join us for the discussion and chat live.
We may be doing some TikToks here soon.
Will we?
I had a really good idea. Hit up some of because we've got a couple of like YouTube and TikTok artists who we do work for.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what if, we do like they're called like, what are they called? Stitches, where you show the beginning of their TikTok and then you do your own TikTok, where I was like, oh, let's show this TikTok and then we'll do ours and we'll say, this is how we did it, blah, blah, blah.
I see.
It's
We
a
have an
good
account,
idea.
we just don't use it.
We do, yeah. I don't know. Just thought it might be fun.
All right. I'll let you be in charge of that.
Yeah. Get them Shams numbers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right.
She's got a ton of numbers.
Yeah. But she puts herself on camera first, and I think that helps.
She does. And she goes, this is what I do.
This is what I do. And then she does the thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's super talented too. So it's like,
yeah.
She gets a lot of followers.
I don't think if you put yourself on camera first, you'll get as many
That's
followers.
True.
That's the thing.
That's true. Yeah. Gotta show the talent first before you show,
your face.
what's behind the talent.
Yeah. Nobody wants to see your talent.
No.
The Halloween show was last week. It was really
fun.
really fun. We had a lot of people call in actually, and I probably will put this on the stream. In fact, I'll probably put it on the stream before this show goes up, just in case you want to listen to it. So if you're listening to this now, you've probably already listened to it.
Yeah.
Unless you skipped it.
I was worried that it was going to be very depressing.
Yeah.
Asking for client horror stories. But like we were able. I feel like everyone was able to spin it into like a positive thing, and it all really came down to like make sure you CYA with a good contract, So
yeah, it was good, and it was. I wasn't sure how many people were going to show up, but it went over well. I didn't realize until today Maxon actually sent out a tweet telling people to join.
Oh,
so that helped.
That.
It was awesome.
I get all their tweets too.
And so
I get all the notifications, Dave.
I know you do. You get
That's
a
how
lot
I'm in
of
the know all the
notifications.
time. That's how I know everything.
And so other notes I have here from the week. Save for Melange. You want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah. Okay. So I've been having this problem, and I thought it was just my system because, we upgraded all of our systems, and we're getting all the bugs worked out and stuff like that. And so I've been on R21 because we've had this one project that we've been working on all year, and so I haven't been able to upgrade. So I started getting this issue where anytime I started like working in X particles or something, and I'd hit save, it would take me like 5-10 minutes to save. And one time, a couple of times, I had to eventually like turn off my autosaves. And you know how I am with autosaves. Like, I don't save my projects. I rely very heavily on the autosave. So I was very nervous. And so because the autosaves would just kill me, it would take forever. What ended up happening, and I'm pretty sure we figured this out. So I got on the X Particles Slack channel, in our Slack channel. And I was like, does anyone know what's going on? Because I finally was able to figure it out as X Particles, because it was weird. When I would turn off all my X Particle systems, it would save like that. It was like done. I'd turn it back on and I'd hit save, and it would take 5-10 minutes, if it would even finish saving it all. At one point, it went all through the night and wouldn't save. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. So I ended up killing, just deleting all my preferences and letting them rebuild, and so it started. That was John Bosley's suggestion in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, cool. And that actually worked. Like, everything was saving so fast. Well, Teddy Gage in the chat also mentioned if I had save project assets for Melange, because we had gone through and done the Unreal course with Jonathan Winbush. I was beta testing it, and that's what he says you have to have clicked on whenever you're exporting out for Unreal. So I had that clicked on. So apparently what I guess it was doing was saving all of those particle assets as well for the entire project.
Yeah.
and since it was such a heavy scene, I was doing like liquid sims and, foam and stuff like that. It was just so heavy and it wasn't saving. So when I killed the prefs, it reset it to unclick save project from Melange.
That makes sense.
So for those who have gone through the course or are using Unreal in their workflow and stuff, be aware that when you're using X particles or something like that, if you've got that checked on, it's going to take a while to save.
And I believe that one of the questions that may have actually come up during beta testing was about R23. I might be wrong about this, but I think Save for Melange is not in R23.
It's not called Save for Melange.
Yeah, it's called something else.
I think 22 and 23, it's called Save for Cineware.
So when you went to 23, it worked fine.
I don't know.
But that's why
when I opened it up
worked.
in 23, but that was literally the first time I had opened up 23.
But that's why it worked.
I didn't have that. Yeah, that's why it worked.
Yeah.
I opened it up in 23 and everything was fine.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't know. I can't work in 23. I've been working in 21. Not that I can't, but I shouldn't, because in the middle of a client project that you've been working on for a year, you don't really want to upgrade your software.
Yeah.
So if that's just a
it's the pointer if you're having that
bug
issue
that I figured out. So yeah.
Yeah.
No,
See?
project level settings, save for Cineware.
Thanks,
according
Rick.
to Rick. Yeah.
There you go. Right
Thanks.
there. Direct line of communication.
There you go.
That's awesome. And what else is in the week review here? We've got, I just wanted to mention the weekly calendar that I've been doing rather than, I had mentioned instead of, I still use a to-do list, but instead of just going through that to-do list day to day, I actually try and block out what I'm going to do because it gives me a better idea and I don't up my expectations. And I did find of course, these tweets come across in like Reddit and you don't know where they actually come from, but I saw a quote and that was from a tweet last week and it said, "All of my plans for the future involve me waking up tomorrow with a sudden sense of discipline and adherence to routine that I have never displayed even once in my life."
Even once in my life.
Yeah. And it's like every day you're like, I'm going to do 5,000 things tomorrow because tomorrow is suddenly going to be different, so
I'm going to work out tomorrow. Yeah. Tomorrow is when I start losing weight.
All right.
Yeah.
It's something where I have been more aware of how long things take me whenever I block it out into hours like that. It's like, take your to-do list, take the major things, not the little itty bitty things, but take the major things you got to do. Anything that takes more than an hour and block it out. Just block it out and look at that weekly view instead of the monthly view. And you're really gonna have a better understanding if you're the type of person that is having trouble with that, of course.
Right.
But it's helping me. I really feel like I have a better handle on my week. And even putting in things like allowing time for like the personal stuff, going to work out and all that. And really thinking, okay, well, it only takes me an hour to work out. Okay, well, I'm not going to block an hour. I'm going to block 2 hours.
Right.
Because you got to stop what you're doing. You got to wrap up. You're a little late. You get off a phone call. You got to find your shoes. You got to, you come back. You got to take a shower. It's not going to take you an hour. It's going to take you 2 hours. So, and
I tried laying out my week. I actually tried laying out my every single day, by like breaking it down what I need to do every single day. And that just became annoying because I'd get the notifications on my phone saying, it's time to do this. It's time to do this. It's time to do this. And I'm like, I know it's time to take my kids to school. I know that.
Yeah.
You can't do the
dog
notifications.
bothers you to go for a pee.
Right.
Yeah, right?
That's not on the calendar.
Yeah. Suddenly it's one of those days where they have to go like every hour. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah. No, I think it's cool to be able to adjust it on the fly. And if you don't get to something, it's fine. You shouldn't feel bad about it. You just push it down. And what's cool is it's like, all right, I didn't get to that. How important is it? Should I push it a couple days? And you take that block and you just drag it down the calendar and then you're good. And there's, I don't know, there's something that feels good about it. And I actually go back and I'll change it in the past. Like if there's something that I finished, but it took me longer or shorter, I'll actually change it on the calendar just to have a record of, okay, that actually took me 5 hours, not 1 hour.
Right.
So it's like, oh, next time you got to post and build the newsletter and send it out, It's
Right.
like, oh, that
Don't
only
book
take me
only
an
an
hour.
hour.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like that actually takes like 4 hours because when I post a newsletter, I get on there and then I'm like, oh, well, we have to have the art for that thing, the show art for that one because we want to put that in there. Well, let me build that. Oh, well, I got to email somebody and get a headshot and then put it in there.
Right.
And so then it becomes like, okay, this is like a 5-hour process. It's not a 1-hour process. And so it's super helpful. I'd like to get other people's ideas and thoughts on that as well. But also crypto art, man.
Man, the freaking crypto art. Calder, have you heard about the crypto art
I
stuff?
have not.
Okay.
So
People.
how do we explain it
Okay.
even? Like,
Okay. So we had a really good conversation with people during the live stream stuff when we were
Mhm.
like testing everything. Oh no, it was one of the nights after the whole live streaming. You know, the Maxon group and
Oh,
all
yeah,
of us got on chat, and so we were talking to Mike about this because he just put up like 3 pieces of art for sale under crypto art,
Mhm.
right? So it's like, and we're like, dude, explain this to me because it doesn't make sense to me at all, you
Mhm.
know. So what he's doing, what this is, because, and we had a big conversation about it in the Slack channel as well. So I know there's a lot of interest around it.
mhm.
So the way I see it is, you're selling a piece of digital art, right? You're selling basically your video, saying, I am selling this video. Beeple is selling this video, and it comes with a crypto whatever, a crypto coin.
It's crypto
or whatever.
signed.
Right. It is
Okay.
basically
Digital,
a certificate
yeah.
of authenticity that you have purchased this video, right?
Mhm.
It's like a piece of art. You know, you need to have a certificate of authenticity before anyone will value it at anything,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
you are able to purchase a digital piece of art with the crypto certificate of authenticity, which
Hmm.
is kind of neat, you know.
Yeah.
But so when you put it in that perspective, to me, it makes a lot of sense, and I can see how people will be willing to sell their stuff, you know, because then you can resell it as well. So he sold 3 pieces of art. One of them, he sold what, like, was it 100 or was it 1,000?
They were
For
all
like
for
$1 each.
$1, 100 of them, I think, for $1 each. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's what it was.
And so, like, he sold 100 crypto versions of this particular art, all with certificates of authenticity, you know. So for $1, and then he put 2 other on auction, and they ended up going for like what, $66,000.
Those
What?
yesterday
Each
I
of
saw,
them?
yeah, 66. Yeah,
Yeah.
that tweet said, "Did
So-
people just make $66,000?" Yes.
It's
apparently.
ridiculous.
But then there was
Right?
the guy
And-
flipping it because our buddy
Yeah.
Joe came over the other night, was hanging out. So was Lance from Already Been
Mhm.
Chewed. And we were hanging out in the backyard and chatting it up. And Joe's like, dude, look at this tweet. Like, this dude just took like 3 different pieces of art of Beeple's and like flipped them. And I don't know, he made
Mhm.
like $3,000 profit in 2 hours by
Yeah,
flipping them.
yeah. I think someone bought one of the $1 ones.
Yeah.
And then
Flipped 'em.
immediately went back and resold it. You know. Yeah. $66,666.
Yeah,
There you go.
man. And
That's crazy.
and so a couple hours later, I actually got a text from Mike, and he was like, "Dude, this dude is like flipping, it's like flipping this art." And I'm like, "Dang, dude! Like, I can't." Like, I was talking to him. I'm like, "I cannot wait to talk about this." He's gonna be on the show in 2 weeks, so we're gonna have a pretty
Yeah.
good conversation about crypto
He'll be
art.
rolling up in like gold chains.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that'd be so funny. He just needs to just purposely like deck himself out. Like just buy some fake gold jewelry and
Right.
a pimp
Yeah.
hat or something. And just
So
like
fun.
just do like a pimp hat and like a fake background, you know, like it looked like he's at a giant mansion. Just rolling in
So
crypto
the,
art
the
dough.
thing with this crypto art, though, the way I understand it is, Beeple still retains the rights to all of his work.
Oh yeah.
You know, he's just selling a digital
Print.
version of his,
Yeah.
like a digital print or whatever.
Yeah.
Which means, if I understand this correctly, so if I go and buy a piece of art, right?
Yeah.
I can put it on display at like an art gallery, or an art gallery can pay me to put it on display, you
Mhm.
know? So I'm curious if someone could be like, okay, I bought this piece of art, you know, this digital art. Can I put it on display at like, you know,
So
Dallas
you,
Museum of Art or something, and they can pay them to do that.
or no,
You know what I'm
virtually. So
saying?
like you give them the rights. You give maybe you give a website the rights to use the art for like a month or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, but then do you have to give away that crypto coin to them or whatever?
Well, you can't give them the
there's
key because that ruins the whole thing.
yeah,
They can't have the key. It's secret.
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
So the thing is, and I was like, well, what's going to stop you from just someone just making a copy of the video? And it's like, it doesn't matter. The video's nothing. It's the coin that's, you know, it's the crypto coin that's most important with
Yeah,
it.
that's signature.
Because without that certificate of authenticity, it just says someone took that video, you know, made a copy of it. It's no big deal. You know, it's this one specific one was sold by people, you know, and that's what
Yeah.
it says. This one was sold. And I think it's fantastic. I think it's great because the more that he, you know, sells his art for an exorbitant amount of money means all the Beeple original signed prints that I have where he drew penises on them and stuff are worth that much more money. You know,
Are they though?
I just need to get those certificate of authenticity.
Yeah,
You know, I
those
need
are
that.
IRL prints though. You got to get
Those
those.
are IRL
yeah.
prints. Yes. You know.
Well, you gotta. I don't know. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I cannot. I mean, I can't do this. Someone like me can't do this because most of the stuff that I've ever created that I'm actually proud of is client works. Okay, I don't
Right,
sit there doing renders. I don't have anything to throw at the application. I mean, there's an application process to sell your stuff. You've got to do an introductory video, talk about who you are, submit all your art. They've got to go through and curate. And apparently, right now, like they're just backed up. All these sites, it's like everybody's trying to submit.
Imagine.
You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, everybody's trying to jump on the train. So what's going to happen though is this is the start of it. It's going to be a big fad. I'm not saying it's going away, but you're going to
but,
have
like-
the big players. They're going to make their money. It's going to happen, but this isn't. Don't think that everybody in the world is going to make $66,000.
No. No.
It's
no.
gonna even
know,
out.
if-
People are gonna be making like $5-10 a piece.
Yeah,
It's
if
gonna.
someone randomly makes a piece of art, an actual like, you know, painting, and tries to sell it at Sotheby's or whatever, they're not gonna make any money.
Right.
You know,
If
like,
you have
so you've got to have that name recognition that comes along with selling a piece of digital art. It's basically just like buying and selling fine art.
yeah,
You know.
or it's OnlyFans
exactly.
for Mograph.
Right.
Yeah, it's like there are gonna be the popular ones that are always gonna be there, but if you got the time to devote to it and
Yeah.
you have the library and you're gonna like full on like just push your crypto art, you could probably make some money. But in general, I don't think that this is going to be like the new hotness for. I think
Yeah.
it's gonna. It's already. I think it's had its big explosion, if you will, and it's going to. I don't think it's going to get any better. I don't think you're going to see people making even more money unless they're already like Beeple or
Yeah.
Fuck Render or somebody.
Yeah, I think people. Yeah, you got to have that name recognition before you're
Yeah.
gonna make that much money.
I think
You
if
know.
there's like a certain way people can like use the purchase prints, like you're saying,
yeah.
like giving the right for the museum to show it, I think that'll like start picking up
Mhm.
traction.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, just kind of you have this $66,000
Yeah.
crypto art sitting on your desktop background.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I wonder. I bet
was-
Shams is doing it. Is Shams making money on it? She's got to be,
I don't
right?
know. Probably. I was thinking about it, like, and this is the whole like museum thing. I was thinking about that the other day with oh gosh, crap, flamingos. You know who I'm talking about?
Shapiro.
Shapiro. Yeah, Gavin Shapiro.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm telling you, I'm not seeing all these people, so I'm forgetting everyone's name. But Gavin, he was selling that zoetrope, you know, that big ass 6-foot radius, you know, zoetrope or whatever. And I was like, that would be perfect. You know, you purchase it for like $750 or whatever that it was priced at, and then you can take it to different museums and say this was made by this digital artist. It's a physical representation of his digital art. And I think that would do really well in a place like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think, well, we'll talk about it more probably in 2 weeks. We'll learn a little bit more about it because I still don't quite understand it. And even though I don't quite understand it, I know enough to know that I feel like this is just, it's a little bit of a fad right now.
I think people who are going to get into it, who are going to see it, they're going to, and who are just like gobbling up artwork and stuff like that without actually knowing the artists are probably the ones who are going to get the most hurt by it, financially or whatever.
Or they're spending all that money. You know what? This is what it is it's like the people that have wanted to get in, that want to get into it, that are getting into it right now, are going to make the money off of it. And then this is the height. This is the height already.
Yeah.
So
maybe.
like, I don't
know.
think that your average person is going to make a bunch of money off of this. Do you?
No. Yeah, I don't know.
It's not going to turn into like the oil painting industry.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I
don't know. It'd be sweet if it did, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't see it getting any bigger than it already has. Yeah,
and here's a question. It's like, what if you want to display it in your house? Like, you buy a Picasso, you hang it on the wall. You're like, oh yeah, that's an original Picasso. And it's like, well, then you have to put it up a TV or a monitor or something on your wall.
If you can spend $66,000 on a piece of crypto art, I'm pretty sure you can just go buy whatever TV you want and hang it up.
Yeah. Yeah. But then, like, I don't know. There's no digital signature on people's stuff,
Yeah, but you don't need
it. Let's keep in mind, people also normally like just gives all of his crap away and says you can do whatever you want with it, So, for example, we were talking to him and he said, oh yeah, someone hit me up and they're like, oh yeah, I bought one of your crypto arts. And he's like, what? I didn't put anything up, But then it turned out someone had emailed him and said, hey, can we sell this? And he's like, yeah, sure, do whatever you want with it. It's like, but that wasn't specifically sold by people,
Right.
It's like, so now you're going to get some of these. How do you certify that it was specifically sold by him?
Exactly.
I don't know.
That's why this is the banana duct tape to the wall thing.
It is.
It's that for if I get a banana out of my kitchen and duct tape it to my wall, it's not worth that. Right. So that's exactly what this is. This is just people paying things to say, hey, I paid this much and this piece of art is, blah, blah, blah.
Well, the thing with the banana tape to the wall is you're paying for the instructions and the ability to post, to show it off at a museum or something like that. There are specific instructions that come along with how to hang that banana on the wall and how it's supposed to look. Anyway,
I don't.
No.
we'll talk about it more in detail. Maybe we'll get a better understanding of it.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to mention this week that we're working on some website updates right now, and we're not all of it's going to launch right away, but you won't see too much of a change. But we are changing a lot of back end stuff, and we're going to have a new, slightly updated front page here pretty soon. And what we would like to do, instead of having this stock video on the front page, is we would like to have renders from people who are already part of the Mograph.com community. So our friends, people on Slack, all of that. It would be cool if you have anything that we could put in on the front page. It's just kind of like a background video. But if you want your stuff up there, it is going to go through kind of a curation process. I can't promise that everything will be there if you send it, but if you want to do that, see, it's like crypto art, right? We'll curate it. And so info@mograph.com. If you have a cool looking render, send us your best stuff though, because we're going to show it to some other people, get their opinion, and say which things do you think should be on the front page. But I want it to be features of people who are part of the community already. I think that's what's important. Not just like, oh, this is a cool render, but people who have been with us and following along and chatting with us, and everybody helps
And of
each
course,
other.
We'll give you credit and everything, of course.
Right. There'll be the
Yeah.
little name on it at the bottom or whatever. We could do an @ something something or a web address or whatever. But yeah, send us stuff that you would like to see in there, especially like patterny stuff, like patterny.
Patterny.
Some nice
Abstract,
crochet.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just that kind of daily looking stuff works really well for what we're doing. So if anybody wants to send stuff and just kind of have it up there in the background, we're just going to have like a loop that plays, and we might even do a thing where we do a couple different variations and they switch out and whatnot, so there's a little variety. So send it over to us. And then also we've got an article behind the screens of feature films. If you want to check that out on mograph.com/news, we've got an article on Jace Hansen and all the awesome effects and stuff he does with his all his FUI stuff. And there's that. And also, of course, check out our classes. Just a reminder. Yeah. There's the Creating the Unreal with Jonathan Winbush. It's the new hotness right now. Make sure that you check that out and learn some Unreal. But also, I wanted to mention that Houdini, the course is going to be getting some updates in the next
for 18.5.
Yeah, six months or so. We'll be adding more content having to do with 18.5, and so make sure.
We've also been talking to him about. Should we mention that?
Wait, which thing?
What we were talking about this morning.
I don't remember what we were talking about this morning.
Okay. Anyway, he's also been talking about adding some of the Octane workflows as well.
Oh yeah, we can talk about that. Yeah, there's just going to be more content in general, and that's the whole thing about these classes is that if this stuff updates, software updates and whatnot, you get those updates in there. And if you've got questions, especially about new 18.5 features, and he puts it in there, you can pick his brain on that, and he gets back to you very quick.
That's the best thing. You get
one-on-one
direct
help.
access to Mark.
Yeah. One-on-one help.
And he's quick about answering the questions.
Very quick.
Like I get the emails every time someone asks a question, as well as when he responds. And we have yet to come up with a question where someone's like, I can't figure this out, and he's like, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, he always tries to
figures
open up
it out. Projects and help out as much as possible.
So if you're getting into that, if you're getting into 18.5, well, a lot of people I think are getting into Houdini right now because they saw the 18.5 announcements. Yeah. And so if you're getting into that, if you want to learn Houdini, everything still works pretty much on that aspect. We haven't run across anything that's different. But once more of this stuff starts rolling out, then you'll also get those 18.5 updates and some new content. So that covers that. So, Calder, let's talk about you and your background.
Yeah, man.
Tell us where you went to school and how you got started in art in general.
So, well, I've always just kind of been like drawing and stuff from like when I was super young. And then like when I was like 13, 15, somewhere around there, my mom had actually signed me up for like a video game sort of like camp during the summer. So I went to like the local college and we like learned how to do like some like basic scripting and like made like a little tiny like video game or whatever, and I just like absolutely like loved it, and I knew I wanted to like get into like the digital world of art.
What platform was that on then?
Oh, I don't know. It was like, yeah, it was some weird like PC thing that this company or group had created, like a nice little like template for you to create games on using like C# or something like that. And then we weren't allowed using like Photoshop or like anything at the time because they didn't have the rights to it, so we had to use MS Paint to create all all of the sprites and stuff.
Oh man. That's funny.
So that was fun. But yeah, then after that it was just like absolutely enthralled in like the world of like the digital just the CG and stuff. And so I would like sign up for like every art course and every CG, like computer lab course, computer graphics and stuff during high school, which was like just brand new, and like the teacher himself was like learning Maya, or like it was like soft image, like 6 point something at the time. So he's like learning alongside us
That's
to like
funny.
know how to use like the 3D tools and stuff. After that, I kind of went and like fell into like construction, and was doing like construction work for like 4 years, and got like I was not satisfied with it, and it was kind of a little bit of luck of what happened. I ended up getting in a car accident, and um I wasn't able to work for a bit, and I was like, no, it's time for a change, and applied to Cato, like the Center for Arts and Technology in Kelowna, BC,
Okay.
and got in. It was like a 2 years straight course for like 3D game animation, where you like learn like 3D modeling, animation, like a bunch of like useless stuff that you'll never use. And then yeah, one of my teachers at the end of it, he was good friends with the hiring manager down in Vancouver, where I'm at now, at Nerd Corp's Entertainment, and he got me an interview there. And so I had to do an art test and like learn soft image again, because I was taught Maya in school. So I had a week to build a character, learn soft image, and like animate it and like texture it and everything in like a week. So I was just like locked myself in the room, working like 12, 16 hours straight a day trying to get this character out. And so yeah, I got in, and that was just amazing feeling, changing your careers, going to school, and like getting your foot in that door was just unreal.
Yeah.
So yeah, since then I was at Nerdcore for 4 years, working on Blaze and the Monster Machines. It's like a preschool.
Oh yeah, no, I love that show.
Yeah.
I
don't know anything
V-Ray
about
for
it.
that.
We first for the first what, like 2-3 seasons. No, it was 2.5 seasons, because we switched over from soft image to Maya mid-season.
That's funny.
For some reason.
Wow.
Yeah.
You
So
had to
mid-season.
learn soft image, and then
Oh
2
my
years
God.
later I had to switch back to Maya.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
funny.
No, we were using Mental Ray, and then we switched over to
Okay.
V-Ray. Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Yeah,
we
I
all
thought I
had
remember because I've seen so much Blaze in the Monster Machine with
funny.
My kid, and I remember every time I watch some of these shows, I'm like, I wonder what they're using for their renderers and stuff.
Mhm.
That's funny. That's
Yeah.
really funny.
Yeah, we're using like a bunch of like self-lit stuff, like this like the clever fall-offs and incidents and stuff like that. And yeah, working on that show, I quickly fell into doing like all the sets and environments and stuff. And that's sort of where my sort of abilities I wanted to like keep honing into, like focus on like just like the environments and sets and stuff, rather like characters and like props and stuff. And then yeah, after that I went over to Icon for a bit, and I did not like it there at all. It was like a weird place in Vancouver, and the show was all right, but the studio, you didn't feel comfortable there. So I got out like as soon as I could, and eventually made my way to Atomic, where I was there for a couple years. Worked on Super Dinosaur.
Cool. I don't know that one.
It's like the writers of like the Walking Dead comic or whatever, like created like this like sci-fi sort of like dinosaurs that can talk, and they have like all this like mech stuff strapped to them, and
Okay.
so I was like,
I've got a like a cartoon, or not cartoon, but I don't know what you call it, kids show, 3D kids show question. I'm not sure about the one you were working on, because I never actually saw that. I know Matt knows it pretty well apparently, but
Yeah.
just like in general, those kind of shows always feel like they have this incredibly evenly lit no shadows, like this. You know the look I'm talking about, right? Mickey
Yeah,
Mouse
it's all
Clubhouse.
super soft.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's just
Mhm.
like there's just so much light. It looks different than a lot of things. How is that achieved? That whole broad look. What is the general lighting scenario for a show like that?
Mhm.
I'm I'm actually not too sure about what they do for the lighting. A lot of times we like split it up into like just modelers, like just textures, shading artists, and then like just the lighting artists and stuff and
Mhm.
comp. Um,
It's
yeah,
just
I'm
so
not too
evenly
sure.
lit. Like, are they just
Yeah.
putting like a giant dome light and calling it a day, or you know?
Um, Earlier I think it was more like everything was like self lit, and then we'll use just like a distant light to add shadows and a
Mm-hmm.
bit of
Mhm.
like a directional highlight onto it,
Yeah.
Mhm.
like in comp or whatever. And then afterwards, yeah, it just gets a little bit more complex light rig, I think, where you have like a few lights aiming at a scene, and then yeah, complement it with a HDR eye sphere,
So it's just like slightly
like environment.
luminant textures then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of those shows, everything's kind of
Yeah.
um, yeah, self lit. Yeah.
Interesting.
How many people how many artists are working on a show like that at a time?
Um, so for the shows I was on, I was actually pretty consistent. For like the animator group, there's like always like 100 of animators, 80, 50, like
Jeez.
quite a bit for like to get all these episodes out, because usually the blocks of episodes are like 24, like 22-minute episodes,
Mhm.
or 50 like 10-minute episodes.
Mhm.
And they'll usually like break up into like groups of like 10 or whatever, with like a director for each like squad. And
Gotcha.
they'll usually like switch up everybody per episode. For the asset creation team, there's usually like 10 or so modelers, and then the same amount for the texture shading. And
Okay.
then with the texture shading, they'll usually like break it up like 5 and 5, where people will just focus on textures and people will just focus on the shading itself,
Mhm.
which is kind of a new pipeline that they're kind of bringing into animation. I feel like it's not the best workflow for the amount of output that we have to do for
Mm-hmm.
this
Mhm.
kind of thing. Whereas like in film, if um you're able to like actually focus more than like one day on an entire asset, so you can actually like focus and just like really dial in like the texture portion of it, and then have like just like beast mode shading artists to like dial in the like the actual like shaders and stuff.
Mhm.
What's the
um
general turnaround for one episode then?
it's by the time we're like in mid-season, like the first few episodes are always just like an absolute like shit show, and
Mm-hmm.
you can never we're always like 3 months behind, 2 months behind. It's like no matter what.
Right.
Mhm.
um but I think it's usually like a month, maybe a month and a half
Yeah.
per like episode for all the unique assets in it.
Because
Mhm.
I'm sure you're bouncing around. You got multiple things going on at once. But I was just curious.
Yeah.
You know.
How does a person, gosh, I can't even imagine, like that to me just blows my mind, working in a room full of like 80 to 100 other artists,
Hmm.
you know, and how do you set yourself apart from everyone else, you know?
Yeah, do you set yourself apart? Are
Yeah,
you
I
even
mean,
able
it's
to?
like, and how it's probably my fault for not for only working in small studios where I was like a 1 or 2 person team,
Right.
you know, but it's like I can't imagine working on that kind of scale where it's like, and you've got one director handling like 10 people at a time. How do you divvy up who takes whom, and you know, who goes on what team? And I don't know, it's just, it sounds like so
Yeah.
much, you know.
um at Atomic, they actually have like a guy solely just like dedicated to managing the like asset department, and like the
Hmm.
people in it, where they go, and like who's performing well based on like are they getting stuff done?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But has the stuff actually like excel in what they're doing, or is it like just like minimum to pass in the show?
Right.
And yeah, I think to like get your like self notice is just going that extra step to making sure you're producing like quality stuff at a quick like turnaround time, right?
Yeah.
Jeff,
Someone was asking in
yeah.
the chat what that role is called.
does it have a name? Like asset
He was
manager?
CG asset supervisor or something like that. He was.
Okay.
Because I can imagine, you know, we have this discussion every once in a while about when there's that there's kind of like two different types of people. There's or animators. There's those people that are they want to do their own thing eventually and be the next people, whatever.
Self-starters,
And
very driven. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's also people that are technical animators, not necessarily even the best at art direction, just really good at modeling or whatever. And there are people in some of those roles who are perfectly content having those roles, which is fine. You can make a good living doing that, and you can have a steady paycheck and health insurance and all that kind of stuff. But the question remains: in that role, do you sometimes feel like a cog in a machine rather than the individual?
Yeah, entirely. In the animation industry, being in that room of 100 people, you're definitely a cog in the wheel.
Yeah.
Or a cog in the
yeah
chain or whatever. Yeah.
And some people are fine with that. You know, did you find that a lot of people they're like, I just love this. I put on my headphones and I jam it out and I make a living, or were a lot of people just this is a step in their career chain?
Yeah, actually a couple of like my good buddies in the industry, there's like, yeah, no, I'm fine where I'm at. I don't want to like get into a lead role. I don't want to have any sort of seniority. I just like sort of floating by, and a raise will come if it happens. And if I go to some like other new studio around here, because there's like 4 or 5 or 6 studios now, you just like ask for more money then to like get your like compensation that way. But yeah, a lot of times it's just like you have like the two groups of people, the people who just like float by and like slowly sort of steadily rise up, or the people who go like full out, want to improve in their career and like actually start to make a name for themselves. And that's sort of like, I don't want to like humble brag or whatever, but that's sort of like what I wanted to push for, was to like improve my career. And so that's why I just have like so much personal art like on my portfolio as well, because it's like
beautiful work too. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I will say, like, going through your work, seeing everything, you see such a wide variety of different things that you're capable of. Like some of the sculpting stuff down at the bottom, gorgeous. Like the characters and stuff. And then you see you've got this like the Arnold toon shading stuff. That's actually where I first saw your work. It was the power station, you know. And it's like the detail in it is absolutely incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, a lot of that was using like just like experimenting with kit bash stuff from like Vitaly and like everything I could find on, I think it was ArtStation Marketplace was Octane. But a lot of times just like scrounging on Gumroad, trying to find like as many mechanical bits and pieces I could find. And then just playing around with the toon shaders themselves, seeing what I can sort of like get out of them.
I like the halftone stuff you have too.
That one was super fun to do.
So
trying to create like a retro sort of feel to it.
We kind of we sidetracked you there with that whole thing, but I wanted that's where were we on your artistic journey?
I was landed at Atomic.
Humble bragging.
I landed at Atomic. I was there for a few years working on like Super Dino, and then I fell into working on the Lego shows, like the Lego Jurassic World.
Oh, cool.
And I think their other Lego show is announced now. I'm not too sure. But yeah, no, a bunch of like the Lego series, and we really wanted to develop like the look and feel of it, like make it look like actual like little Lego pieces. So we like really went into the like texturing and shading portion of that, which was done in RenderMan. I absolutely
interesting.
hate RenderMan. And like
funny.
I'm so glad I got out of there and like or out of like the animation industry and using RenderMan in general, because yeah, it's such a pain to use.
Is it?
Oh my god, yeah.
What
I don't know.
specifically about it makes it hard to or difficult to use in comparison? Because I've never touched RenderMan.
It likes to name stuff, just random names. The way you sort of like connect and like join stuff together to get stuff to work is kind of a pain. It'll arbitrarily like not work. Like we'll have like 50 assets. You have your reused shaders. Drag and drop the shader on your prop, like a watering can. You've used this shader 50 other times on 50 other props. For this water can, the shader's broken. It doesn't work. And it's just like, why is this not working? So we have to like go through and completely rebuild the shader from scratch, and like it'll like work fine. And it's just like suddenly RenderMan like refuses to work. And the same thing with like displacement, like height map stuff. It'll look fine on a few assets, and then all of a sudden on this asset, it's all artifacting and like the geo separating, and there's like the weird like stepping effect, and just like using the exact same textures, exact same setup. Doesn't want to work.
It seems so inconsistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
And
it's so weird.
Was this all in Maya?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so this whole time you've been working in Maya and stuff like that for all these shows?
Yeah. And so working like going through like my career in the animation industry, once like during that time on Blaze, halfway through the season where we switched to Maya, that's when I was looking at other tools to use at home, because I didn't like Maya.
Yeah.
After going back to Saw Optimage and just like seeing like a tool dedicated to like a shading modeling artist, going to Maya felt there was like a big disconnect, and you really had to guide the program to be like a useful tool for you. So I don't know, I just didn't quite like how it was like laid out and working. So that's when I discovered Cinema 4D, and Octane, actually, I think at the time. Maybe Octane was a little bit later, I'm not too sure. But yeah, so that's when I would start to develop like a lot of like my personal work and stuff like that.
How did you discover Cinema 4D? Were you?
Yeah, I'm interested about that too.
I think it was just like looking up. Actually, it was the dailies. People posting all the dailies and stuff. I felt that was a cool sort of, you could utilize those dailies as a tool to like learn the program. And it seemed like Cinema 4D was pretty decent to learn, and I can like follow along with everyone's sort of like YouTube posts or YouTube videos of them making like some random daily on like using like the cloner tool or something like that. And so I would just like follow along, learn how to use the cloner tool one day, learn how to use like the hair stuff to make those weird
puffball
sort of like Minecraft
Yeah.
little things like attaching like the square to it, or just learn like,
Yeah.
how to use like the deformers and stuff. And then eventually started seeing people using the dailies with like Octane, and just seeing like that live feedback and having
and it not being RenderMan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. yeah, so I dove into Octane and absolutely loved using it and like its scatter system and stuff like that. And I've always wanted to develop like realistic landscapes and stuff because I've been like focusing on landscapes, and
Yeah.
up until then it was more trying to kind of like half-ass it using like V-Ray and stuff like that, but it was not getting me the results I wanted without like going like doing like a huge deep dive into it to figure out like, okay, so you have to do like all these technical setups to get your tree like the shine on the leaves to look properly or something like that. And then finding Octane and seeing now it's like super easy to create realistic stuff, especially with like Megascan library and photo scan techniques and stuff coming into light. Then it just made everything sort of just like fall into place. Learning like speed tree to develop like a set of trees, and then eventually creating like a set of like reuse stuff for like my sets where I have like all my scatter systems pre-set up, just drag them into a scene. Vertex paint where I want bushes to go, vertex paint where I want the trees to go. And all I do is have to focus on the composition.
Did you find the because I went from V-Ray to Octane as well. Did you find that after being in V-Ray and Mental Ray and RenderMan and stuff, did you find that the workflow was like very different?
Yeah, quite a bit actually. But it wasn't like you felt like consumed by it different. Like, I don't know how I'm like going to learn this tool. Like you can see like this is how a render engine can be used, like, or it can be for people to use. Like it's super laid out, simple, and it's like ready to go out of the box kind of thing.
I feel like
a lot of those like offline render engines, you need a lot of backend in place to create a lot of like the more achievable, or I'm not sure how to like, a lot more like impressive stuff.
Octane out of the box is so good for landscaping stuff. Just you can put together a landscape in a matter of minutes. You can get to somewhere. You know, it's so quick.
Yeah, exactly. Like some of my like nature scenes is just like one evening, and I'll have like a finished like full piece, and it looks like absolutely amazing. And it's like let Octane render it out at like 16K samples overnight. Come back in the morning, still slightly rendering, but it's already crisp and clean. Just like do some Photoshop adjustments and you're done.
And you've got some Octane stuff up on your art station. I don't know if you want to talk about these, like creating rivers, environment creation, and creating cliffs, and it's all Octane and Cinema 4D. So what is in these packs here, or what would you call them? Are they packs? Are they? What would you call them?
I've been always like bugged about like my process for like since I've been creating like the realistic environments, and I always have been like difficult to find time to create like a solid tutorial because I wanted to show like my entire process. And so that's when I like took a week off to go to GDC, but then COVID happened, and so I was like, I'm just going to take these 9 days to develop like the course that people have been asking for all this time. And so that's when the environment creation course came about. The $75 course. And so I wanted to show like just everything in my process, from like how I set up my composition for the scene, like what sort of workflows I do to establish like creating like the plants for Megascans, going through setting up like trees to be like have a bunch of procedural stuff happening on them. So if they're like leafy trees, you can use like the dirt shader to create like this like a 1-in-1 slider or 0-to-1 slider for like oh, you want your tree to be more fall, have your slider to the left. You want it to be nice and summery, create it green, or slide to the right. And then I just go through my entire process of like creating an entire like fully fledged landscape. From like creating like the actual ground, how I use like the noise deformers and stuff to sort of make it look a little bit more natural, then use the sculpting tools to develop that, go through creating like the scatter systems and how to adjust certain scatter systems to fit like different plant species or like grasses and like or rocks and stuff like that. And then go through how I use like the fog and lighting and just like how I refine my composition down into like a final scene. And then take it into Photoshop and show some of like the painterly sort of paint over techniques I use to break up that 3D render feel that that you can't avoid.
Right.
And then just during all that, just trying to jam in as much information and tips and tricks as I can into the course. And so with the other two courses, the creating rivers and the creating cliffs, I wanted to create them as sort of like add-ons that you can sort of like
DLC, right?
Yeah, exactly.
DLC.
And so they'll use like a lot of the same techniques as the big course. I just sort of like focus on different and new techniques within these. Like for the cliff ones, I show how to create like a nice natural looking like cliffside. And then like the river one, we go and develop like river shader and like using like the cloner tools to create like the falling leaves effects and how to use like the vertex mapping to create like wet areas along the banks and everything like that.
Like in this one that we have up right here, you've got, I mean, there's so much here. Is this all from Megascans or do you have other libraries? And how do you place all this stuff? It seems like a lot of stuff to place.
So for like my general library of assets, I use Megascans for basically all the 3D elements, like the dead branches, the dead logs, driftwood, the rocks, and then I use real displacement textures for all my like tileable materials because I find they're just absolutely excel over Megascans for their tileable materials, and they're just like realistic feel to them, like in the height maps and stuff are so refined and detailed. And then using like speed tree for the trees, except in this scene I think they're like the Alter 49 tree pack from Gumroad, so it was like $5 for like a pretty decent set of like pine trees.
That's cool.
Are you doing a lot of instancing in these? So I usually have like like the scattering setup for like all the trees, the grasses. In this case, I think like all the rocks are in it. And then I'll go back and I'll complement those scatter systems with like hand play stuff, like in the foreground, like the pile of like driftwood in the right and like the driftwood on the left is all like hand placed, and then like that dead log with like the little tiny like sprig grown out of it, like it's like hand placing those to sort of create like a bit of story in your scene, because that is what's always lacking in like creating scenes with like using the scatter systems and stuff. It just feels like just like a plain Jane sort of scene. So if you like actually take time and like place a few objects, you can really bring the viewer into the scene and like create a story with it. How do you go about setting up your composition? Are you using references, or are you just starting with any sort of guides, or are you just kind of doing whatever what comes to you, whatever you feel?
I'll be right back, guys. Sorry.
Okay. A lot of times it's just drawing in my sketchbook that I like always have beside me. Oops. Oh my god. yeah, it's like my sketchbook, and I'll just like draw like whatever idea comes to my head. Like for that one, I wanted to create something somewhat of a forest fire scene, so I just like established a bit of a composition, just a quick scribble, like took more than like 2 minutes, and maybe like knock out like a few other ones in case that one's not working too well.
Are you going for like, you know, do you ever do like golden spiral or any of that kind of stuff, you know, or you just, is it more of a traditional like eyeball for composition?
Yeah, so a lot of time, like a while ago, I'd like make sure I got like a nice rule of third stuff happening. But like once you really get to know like those compositional techniques, you can just sort of like, you don't even have to like think about it. You just eyeball it. Okay, the tree, like this tree clump looks good, like in sort of like this area of the composition, which naturally is like rule of thirds or like your like golden spiral or golden ratio. And then it's, yeah, just making sure your scene's like nice and balanced. I actually go through a little bit of that in like the course itself, and like creating like a pleasing composition. It's very like basic. There's like definitely like better ones on YouTube that will like, or like Gumroad or whatever, that go more in depth on creating like a really good solid composition for your scene. But yeah, once I get like a solid composition down, I'll just go into like cinema, establish my ground, and figure out like my camera angle pretty much like right away. And then it's just, after that, it's just slow adjustments of the camera
Right.
as I build up the terrain itself.
So like
Figuring out the FOV and stuff like that.
I don't have the name of this. Jungle River, this piece here, in case anybody is listening and wants to find this one. You have a sketch here kind of on grade. Now, is this something you sketched on paper and scanned? Did you do this on an iPad? How do you go about that?
So yeah, that sketch was just done in Photoshop.
Okay.
And so that would be like similarly how I would set up my like Octane scenes as well, just like a quick sketch to figure out lay of the land kind of thing.
So you're using a pen, right? Are you doing this? You're not doing this with a mouse.
Oh yeah, it's a mouse.
Is it?
No, just.
Oh, okay.
No.
I'd be like, dang.
No, I at this time I had invested in actually a Huion drawing monitor, but it had finally crapped out the last December, and so I invested in just a solid Cintiq because that's what I was using at work, and
Yeah.
like for a hobby, the Huion was a solid drawing monitor, but when you're starting to like make money from it and you're always kind of getting into like these weird sort of bugs, like those drivers would sometimes not work and stuff like that, I just wanted to invest into a tool like the Cintiq that would work pretty much no matter what.
And you're liking that now, so.
Oh yeah, absolutely loving it.
Cool. Yeah. I can't invest the money. Matt always talks about it.
I want one. But I feel like it's going to be just like my iPad Pro, where I wanted one so bad I finally bought one and then I barely use it.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
You know, but it's like I
Reddit
don't
on
do.
it in your bedroom.
Yeah. See, I don't do enough drawing to like.
But you should.
It's very
That's the thing.
convenient. It's very convenient when I'm needing to do brush strokes or whatever in either Photoshop or like After Effects when I'm using the clone brush and stuff like that. It's very convenient for that, but I can't see any other use other than that.
I used the iPad for in the Halloween promo with the pumpkin with the eyeballs, the face on it.
Oh yeah.
I totally drew that in Procreate and just brought in the
That's
layers. Yeah. But yeah, it's you got to, if you're going to get one of those, you got to make yourself use it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like maybe have some sort of like, you know, oh, I'm going to do a daily with this pencil every day, you know, make yourself use it.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, I was doing a lot of like 2D like drawing stuff, and so the Cintiq was very much innate in like my toolbox. A tool I would actually use at that time.
what are you doing nowadays? Like are you working for a company, or are you a solo artist?
So yeah, it just in August here, I got an email from Moon Studios to join their team.
Mm-hmm.
They're the guys that do like those Ori games, Ori in the Blind Forest.
Oh,
Ori
yeah,
the Golden
cool.
Mist. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so getting a reach out from them was like mind blowing. Like,
Yeah.
I've been trying to sort of get out of the animation industry,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of expected to just be like going towards like EA or something like that because they're local.
Oh, I didn't know EA was up there.
Yeah, they're like one of their studios anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Here they focus on like the FIFA games, and I think like Need for Speed and Plants vs Zombies. But like none of that is like interesting me at all. I don't want to make FIFA jerseys for 5 months and then get let go because they're weird process of never hiring people full time. And so they do like the loophole of that.
Interesting.
And then yeah, Moon Studios emailed me for like a full-time remote job. And so I got them to give me an art test to show that I was able to use Unity.
Okay.
And so it's another thing where it's like, okay, so this 2 weeks, I'm going to lock myself in the
Right.
room and learn how to use Unity.
Yeah.
And make them something that would interest them in hiring me.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what are you doing for them specifically?
So
if you're allowed to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't talk about the game or whatever we're working on. But I'm focusing on like, I guess it's more, so we have a team of like 16 of us right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all focusing on the environment stuff, and they sort of have like a loose established rules, so you're not like just doing
Nice.
Like modeling, you're also able to like do like a little bit of concept art, like dive into Unity and do like the set dressing or like design blockouts and stuff like that.
That's
so
nice. That keeps it
like,
keeps the variety going, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and for like people like me who get like bored fast and always like to like get their hands wet in like every sort of avenue.
Yeah.
I've been able to like do some like concept art, do design blockouts, and right now we're doing a big push for the set dressing stuff, and so I've been having a blast doing like all the set dressing stuff and like the stuff like that.
Cool.
And the other thing I meant to bring up earlier was you've got all this Octane stuff, but you also have all of this Arnold stuff, and it's kind of rare to see somebody who does so much in a GPU and a CPU renderer rather than just, you have the people who are just like Octane Redshift, back and forth. So you do a lot of Arnold. So you've got to have kind of a bit of CPU and GPU power. So what are you doing to manage that?
Just invest a lot in my computer system.
I didn't know if you were
what are you
using
running?
farms or,
No, I just a local. I try to make sure like stuff is at a decent enough level where I can just render it local. Especially because I'm not worried about multi-frame rendering. It's just always for the illustration, single frame.
It's true. Yeah.
But for my setup, it's two 2080 Ti's, and I recently upgraded to an i9.
Cool.
So did we.
Yeah. Those i9s are nice.
They're nice. They're solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, when it came in the mail with that weird like soccer ball box, my girlfriend's just like, "What the hell is this?"
We didn't
get the soccer ball box. Ours was just like a tiny box.
Yeah, we had gotten some Threadrippers that didn't work out for us, and they're in that elaborate packaging with it like sitting in the middle, or not in Matt's case where there was no processor in it. Yeah, but that was an ordeal. But the i9 box, it literally like came in like the crappiest looking like beat up box,
like a cigarette
or
box
pack of cards. We're like, wow.
Oh.
All right. It's an
Yeah.
$800 processor right here. All right.
Yeah. Did you so you've got Arnold running and you're going back and forth to GPU. Do you
Are you doing Arnold GPU at all?
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions as well.
No, because I only really use Arnold for its tune shaders, and
Okay.
like
Yeah.
and that's what led me to Arnold. Was I was looking for something that was able to do some really cool like tune shading stuff, and I wasn't getting what I wanted out of Octane. I hated RenderMan, so I refused to use that.
Yeah.
V-Ray, there's some stuff in it, but I didn't want to dive back into that. And Arnold seemed like in line with Octane on making their tool accessible for beginners, as well as the ability to go into like the more complex stuff.
Right.
And it's tune shader stuff that I was seeing from Lee Griggs just kind of like absolutely inspired me to create
The
some
tune
cool
shading
stuff.
in Arnold is very nice. It's very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Do you go back and forth a lot, or are you sticking to one of them now?
Oh yeah, no, I always go back and forth. Well, like I'll have like this weird like rotation of like, okay, so these 3 weeks, my brain just wants to do like Octane nature environments, and then like I'll get bored of that, and then okay, so now these 2 weeks I'm gonna use like Arnold Tune Shader and make some Tune Shader stuff. And then, okay, so these 3 weeks, I'm going to go and do some like hand painted Photoshop, just pure 2D stuff.
What would you find
There's
like
this
the
kind of
hardest
cool
thing is going back and forth between the two? What is the biggest thing between the back and forth where your brain's like, oh, I got to think this way now instead of that way?
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of times it's just like, honestly, this goes down into how Octane uses is like height and displacement stuff, whereas like Arnold is like a more of traditional sense where you have to like subdivide your geometry insane amounts to get the fidelity of the height map, and that'll like slow down your render and stuff like that. So that's where I sort of
Don't worry, Octane has that too with the vector displacement.
yeah,
You know, you want to slow down your render a whole bunch.
And so that's where I sort of went into doing a lot of just like sci-fi stuff in Arnold, just like kit bash the shit out of something.
Does it change your workflow order of anything, or pretty much is your workflow kind of the same order?
Kind of same order, yeah, because you're able to have like that live IPR window up while you're working. It's not as good as like Octane's for like the live feedback and getting like to render like real quick, I guess based on machine. But yeah, no, it hasn't changed too much. My process is still like blocking out your thumbnail, making sure you got something that would be good to look at, and then it's a matter of creating it using like the cloner tools or like everything to your advantage that Cinema 4D has to offer, rather than like manually like placing like 1,000 objects like in a row. You just use like a cloner for that, jam it in your scene, move on.
Yeah. Cool. What about coming up in the future? Do you have any personal projects or anything like that you have planned or that you're working on?
I would like to continue creating tutorials for Arnold and Octane. I've actually have dove like quite a bit more into like Arnold and his tune shader system, and there's like I could make like 4 or 5 more videos on that on my YouTube channel. But yeah, no, besides just like wanting to make more stuff for like giving back to the community for like teaching me just so much. There's just not much on my plate right now. I've been quite focused on this project at Moon.
Yeah.
And
with
like
the stuff that you're working at Moon, you know, you said they were using Unity. Are you using Cinema 4D in that? I'm curious about what your workflow is.
Yeah, so they're fine with whatever tool you use as long as you end up with like FBX that's usable in the game engine.
Okay.
And so like some of the more concept side artists there are using like Blender to create assets, and then
Gotcha.
a lot of more sort of asset orientated people like me and a few others are using like a mix of like 3ds Max, Maya, and in my case Cinema 4D.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Do you ever hop back to Maya?
Yeah, I have Maya installed on my computer, unfortunately, now. It's just better for like exporting out stuff and like doing like quick actions, like adjustments to UVs, which
Gotcha.
is kind of a struggle sometimes in cinema.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got all the new UV tools. Have you tried them?
No, I'm
I haven't
still
either.
on R20.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
okay.
on 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should check out the new stuff sometime. See if it's. I'd like to hear at some point a comparison from somebody who's been in Maya and what their opinion is of the new tools.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I got a couple links here that I wanted to share, and we'll be posting all of this, and including links to your ArtStation and YouTube and all of that stuff in the show notes. But I did want to mention first of all that Premium Beat has started doing a subscription service.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird to me that they would be doing this, but here's the way they laid it out. It's like, okay, you pay for the subscription and you get to download things for $12.99 a month instead up to 5 for $12.99
each instead of
It's like,
which
yeah,
I kind of understand. If you're using it a lot, it makes sense, right? Like,
right. If you're buying at least
Yeah.
like 2 things a month,
Yeah.
you're saving money there. But it's like, I don't know.
That's where I go.
It's weird. It's weird to do a subscription that's not just one flat price and
for
I
their
don't know.
library.
Yeah, because we have Envato Elements, which I enjoy. You know, I don't use it as often, but it's very nice just to have one subscription place. It's like $30 a month,
Yeah.
where I can just go and search for something. Because you got some of these, you know, lower end projects for the meal projects, you
Right.
know, that you just need something quick, and they're never gonna know you're using a template from After Effects.
Right.
You know, so it's like it's nice having all that and being able to download an unlimited amount, but it's weird to do like audio subscription and
Well,
I don't know.
it's if you're using it a lot, I can understand because once or twice every 3 months or so that I go for music, I'm doing $40 for
Yeah.
that piece. So if I'm paying
Yeah.
$60 a month plus $12 a track, if I'm doing more than 2, I guess that makes sense.
Is it a flat fee plus you're paying the $12.99?
That's what it
See, I-
sounds like.
Okay,
Maybe I'm
because
wrong,
I
but-
understood it as you do the subscription and you pay $12.99 a month. I don't know. I'll have to look that up, because if it's more, then you've got to pay more money, right?
Yeah. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk about, this is something that I discovered the other day, and when we were on the line doing the live streams, or actually doing the rehearsals for live streams last week, talking to James Ramirez a little bit about VR stuff. He was like,
Yeah.
have you seen Studio Cyro? I'm like, yes, I have. I actually bookmarked
I haven't seen
them.
that.
So this is the problem with the Quest 2 as far as Quill is you cannot create in Quill, which sucks because Quill seems to be the one people are really liking the most in that space, and that's what James uses. And there are actually there's an app on the Quest 2 where you can view, what is it called? It's like the player or something, like Quill
Yeah, it's
Player.
Quill
Viewer, presenter,
Quill
whatever it is.
Theater.
Theater.
That's what it is, I think.
So you can
Yeah.
watch all of these, and it's really cool because you can go on like a journey and just sit there and
Mm-hmm.
look at these beautiful scenes and then click next, next, next. They don't have a good system when it comes to bookmarking or any of that, though. That's the problem. If you find a
Mm-hmm.
scene that's like totally trippy and awesome and you're like, oh, this is cool, you can't save it. You got to write it down. So
Right.
I wrote down this one in particular because they do these things called set explorations where you feel like it's a set for something almost, right? Like it has that feel, and they do some really cool things with sprites and pieces just to keep the load time down and the geometry down to fit. But this one in particular is called Soda Island Biomes. If you want to do a search for it, but this company is Studio Cyro. They have these amazing pieces of art that they're putting out, and I don't know how they're doing it, but I mean, I know they're doing it in Quill, but they do a really great job. And there's I think it was the Soda Island Biomes one where you're in this crazy maybe I can look it up and bring it up on the stream here. Soda Island, is that right? Yeah. Soda
I'm on their
Island.
Vimeo page. I don't see it. I don't see anything on their Vimeo.
Well, I don't know if they even put the videos up. It's like something that you've got to explore inside of.
Tales from Soda Island, the Multiverse Bakery. Is that it? Oh, they did a Dead Mouse stuff. A Dead Mouse and Mr. Bill.
Oh, that's funny. I think I found one photo of it on the internet. And the way that a lot of these work is that you have like...
Go, Dave.
Oh, did you find it?
Yeah,
If you have a scene, you put it into the theater and then you give it like different views, which is fun. So like you can see it from different angles. And I'll bring this one up. This isn't the one I was talking about in particular, but I'll just kind of bring it up so you can see what I'm talking about, how this works. You're inside of these different. There's the one with the little koala, and this one here. That's the soda one, I think. And
so
you can
cool.
view them from these different angles, and you just sit there and you just take it in. It's not interactive. It's not any of that. It's like sit here and just listen and look and take in the vibe, and then you can click a
Does
button.
everything move?
Everything's moving. They do some really cool.
So
no, not that way. No, sorry.
Oh.
You're not moving like the sick kind of moving, but the little pieces are moving. But what they do with things like water and sprites for like foam and things, I don't know, it's great. This is Tales from Soda Island, Chapter 2, The Neon Jungle. So, yeah, I will bookmark that, and I'll put that in the show notes so you can check it out. But I just, chilled out, sat on the bed, watched and relaxed. It's kind of meditative, I guess.
Yeah.
You just kind of sit there and take it in, and it feels good, bro. So check that out. And then also I wanted to mention the Haunted Sanctuary show that Sabor made. He did he did projection mapping.
Was this for his house? This
yeah,
was his house,
he did projection mapping on his own house for
it looked
Halloween.
so good.
Yeah. I wonder what kind of projectors he used, because that was bright.
I want to know. Yeah, I want to know how he kept them from getting stolen.
Well, you just stand out there with it.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to. Yeah, but you don't want to stand out there all night, do you?
I stood out there all night on Halloween.
Yeah, but just on Halloween.
We built a candy chute.
Yeah, if I'm gonna do some projection mapping on my house, I want it to be up all October or whatever, or all Christmas.
Well, I mean, I see what you mean. But yeah, Christmas I could see. You would want that out there every night or whatever. But
yeah.
I mean, for something like this, you would probably set it up one night, make sure it's all working. And then after that, you would just put it out on Halloween and you would just sit there with it. That seems like the best way to go about it. I'll see if I can bring this up here. But
it's really cool.
I'm looking at it and I'm like, I wonder what type of projector. I bet because of the industry and the companies that he's working for, I bet you he had access to some sort of projector, because this isn't your run-of-the-mill computer projector. That is pretty dang bright.
Okay, so that's probably right behind those pumpkins sitting on the ground.
Oh, you think he keystoned it from? Yeah. Oh, the little thing there. Maybe it's hard to see. I don't know.
Yeah, it is. It's cool. They look really good. They look really good.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell where that's coming from. The thing is, though, he's got stuff going on the right side too.
Yeah.
And maybe he's got multiple projectors. Man, that is elaborate. Unless he's got it inside this horse and carriage here.
Oh, that'd be smart. Yeah. Yeah.
Gonna have to ask him about this, because I really do want to know, like, as far as the projector setup, what you got to do something like that. Because I have always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to do something cool like this.
Yeah. I have my house it's it's a 2-story and it's all just flat, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it would be perfect for something like this.
See, my garage isn't in the front. That's the problem.
Yeah, mine isn't either.
You don't have as much to project on if you don't have a garage.
Mhm.
So, man, so cool.
Cool.
Gonna have
Yeah.
to ask him.
Good job, Sabor.
Yeah. We did a candy shoot. That was about it.
Yeah, we just went trick or treating. Like normal. It was normal for us. We're
It
in
was
Texas.
fun.
No one cares about anything here.
It was fun though. You just, I mean, a lot of people. We got a lot of good compliments on it. You know,
Hmm.
there's something fun though about setting up and doing like, I don't know, because you throw it through the pipe. You can just sit there and just throw candy at people. Basically,
Yeah.
it's kind of fun.
Shoot them at them with a cannon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look,
Dress up as a pirate.
it's just like there's a tube. People just line up, and then they it's got little rope light going on it. My daughter enjoyed it. She just like shot candy at people all night. And
Yeah.
what was really funny is the kids that were like short would be like, "No, you gotta hold up your bucket in front." It came down quick because it's drain pipe. You know, it's not like regular PVC, like hard PVC. It's drain pipe, so it
Yeah.
actually kind of will bend. And it's got this slick inside to it, like a black inside, and so the candy would just shoot and like ping these kids in the face, and we're like, yeah, you should hold your bucket up so you don't get like shot with the sucker in the face.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's super fun. Everybody's like, you should just do this every year, regardless. You know.
Right.
So if you heard about it, because I know a lot of people were sharing people doing this on social and little news segments about candy shoots. So if you're interested in it for next year, it's definitely a lot of fun and it works really well.
It was a really
so.
cool TikTok that I saw of a guy who created a candy shoot, and he made it look like one of the sandworms from Beetlejuice, you know?
Nice.
And so, like, the candy would come out of the sandworm's mouth, you know? It's very, very cool.
Cool. Yeah. And do I have anything else in here? Yes, I do. There's something else when I was hanging out with Joe that he told me about the other day. This is called High in Heaven, and this is behind the scenes video of High in Heaven, and this is a drone show that, you know, the drone shows where they do the lights and things and the drones move around in the sky and create patterns and whatnot. So this company or this team of animators actually used Moves by Maxon, and they did facial capture, and they were able to
cool.
take that data and bring that into actual drones in real life and do like this face in the air with all of these drones moving together. So there's a behind the scenes video you can check out to see how they went from an iPhone to drones.
That's cool.
Yeah. And the last one I wanted to mention is just a link to, I think it's the Cinema 4D.
Show me what you got.
Yeah, show me what you got. Actually, this isn't the Cinema 4D subreddit. This was just in Reddit videos and made it to the top. And there's a guy who built the entire Breaking Bad Super Lab in 3D.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Including the fly.
Crazy. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny.
I think
Gotta
it's
have the fly.
the same fly maybe that landed on Pence's head. I don't know. Could be.
Right?
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I got for that. But let's move to Mograph Recommends. We're going to ask you some of your favorite things in different areas, and these can be your favorite overall or maybe just your most recent favorite
Okay.
when it comes to things like movies and TV and such. So we'll start with your favorite movie.
Gonna have to go with Fifth Element, I think, still.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I was like one of the films that like wanted me to get into doing some cool shit.
What
I
was it
still absolutely love it
specifically
today.
about Fifth Element that? Because I've seen it, and I know a lot of people love the movie, but me personally, I just don't get it. You know.
You need to watch it a
I
little
think
more.
for me, a lot of it was just like the world building of it as well.
Okay. Yeah, I
And
get
it's
that.
like, oh, it was like super clever and like funny and action packed, and
Yeah.
it's got that love story for the ladies. No,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Lila Dallas
but-
Motopass.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me was just like the amazing like world building and like you get the shots of like this insanely huge like city, and yeah, just taking all that in was just like mind blowing when I
Okay.
was young little guy.
See, it's probably my fault because I hadn't seen it all the way through until probably a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
You
you gotta
know,
give it a few
I had
more.
only seen pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. Goblin Dallas, you crazy? You gotta watch it again, Matt.
Yeah.
It's like watching The Big Lebowski for the first time. You've got to watch. There's a rule. You have to watch The Big Lebowski 3 times before you
Okay.
judge whether or not you like The Big Lebowski.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just watch
Is there
it
a
once.
reason? Yeah, but I feel like if you like a movie, you should like it from the beginning.
No,
not
it's a slow
have to watch
burn.
it
It's a
3
slow
times.
burn. You gotta watch it, and then
Yeah.
you watch it again, and you pick up on other little things, and then
All right.
you really start to get it. You just start to
Mhm.
get the dude, man. The dude abides.
Yeah. It's like listening to an album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Alright.
you take a few listens.
Yeah.
All right.
For sure. All right. What about music? Speaking of which.
Right now, I think it might be. I've been listening to a lot of like High on Fire again. Just
I
like
know High on Fire.
sludge metal. Like the guitarist from Sleep, like the Dope Smoker album and stuff like that. Stoner rock, sludge rock, stuff like that. And then in general, just like a bunch of like deathcore stuff and
Nice.
All up Matt's
Yeah.
alley.
yeah, just like the heaviest crap I could find.
Do you listen to
Okay,
that while
yeah.
you're working as well, or is that
yeah,
different?
yeah.
That's funny.
Gets you
Yeah.
in the zone.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
why. Yeah, just like stuff like To the Grave or like Slaughter to Prevail and like Cattle Decapitation and stuff like that. Gojira. And then sometimes like I'll go on weird stints where I was like started listening to like weird experimental like jazz albums from like the 70s.
All right.
Did you?
Just like random stuff
What
like that.
about what's his name? Al Jarreau then.
I'm not
No,
sure. if
Al
I know
Jarreau.
that.
I thought maybe with the experimental jazz stuff, you might know Al Jarreau.
Hmm.
Like Look to the Rainbow. It's one of my albums in rotation, but it's kind of
is he like
scat
the
music.
Italian guy?
No,
No.
he does. It's scat. It's. I guess it would almost be considered scat the way he just riffs and just says makes random noises and nonsensical
No.
non-words. But
I'm out of my element on both these genres.
Oh, and lately, actually, a lot of Idols and their new album specifically.
Mhm.
It's like British punk rock, post-punk. I don't know, super high energy. Love it.
Cool.
and what about TV shows?
TV shows. I don't know. Game of Thrones up to season 7.
Yeah.
Actually, like one of my favorite TV shows to watch was just like the first season and the prequel of Spartacus. It
I've never
was
seen
like,
that.
it's like from Stars, I think. Like, I
Okay.
think they're like a Australian thing. It's on Crave if you have Crave.
Okay.
But yeah, no, like the first season before like the main character passed away and they got like a replacement character.
No spoilers.
I mean, but yeah, no, it was just like such a fun series to watch.
Mm-hmm.
On that, it's like yeah, Breaking Bad, really enjoyed that. Never got into Better Call Saul though.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. It was just like my girlfriend and I just like weren't in it at the time.
Oh man, I would give it a second chance.
I will say I get that because with Better Call Saul, I had a harder time like really getting into it than I did with Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad, I felt like I understood where they were going, you know,
Yeah.
from
yeah.
like episode 1, episode 2, you know, and then it was all about the mayhem that happened. With
Yeah,
Better Call
exactly.
Saul, I know where they eventually go.
It's so
you know,
good
but it's
though.
like,
It's so
I don't
good.
know.
I would
it's-
borderline
I
say that
enjoy
it's
it.
almost as good as
Yeah.
Breaking Bad
Well,
at
that's
this
because you've
point.
got Vince. Is it Vince Gilligan? Vince
Yeah.
Gillian?
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah.
Yeah. He. I mean, he's an excellent writer.
Yeah.
You know.
It's
I
so
don't know.
good.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, and just watching some cool like horror series, like was like The Outsider, which is like that
Mhm.
Stephen King sort of adaptation, and
Mhm.
was it Haunting of Hill House was
Mhm.
really good.
Mm-hmm.
The new one from that guy, like the Bly Manor, that
Mhm.
one was pretty good. It wasn't as near as good as Haunting of Hill House though.
Yeah.
Oh, and Kevin says that Breaking Bad is one of his favorites, and The Wire is also worth watching.
Never watched The Wire.
It's our weekly Breaking Bad and The Wire from Kevin. I should watch The Wire at this
Yeah.
point. I hear so
Dude,
much about
we
it.
should do a streamathon of watching The
There you
Wire
go.
while
There
we're
you go.
working.
That's a
There you
lot
go.
of seasons, isn't it? How many seasons do they have?
I don't know. I don't think there's a lot. I just think they're long episodes.
Yeah, they're in standard depth. Ugh.
Yeah. Oh, there's 6 seasons
Okay.
or 7, something like that.
HBO length.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 60-minute.
And do you listen to podcasts?
5 seasons. Sorry. 5
Mm,
seasons.
sometimes if there's like an interesting Joe Rogan or something
Yeah.
like that. I actually been watching quite a bit of like offline TV, and they're like podcasts. It's like a random group of young kids that live in a house.
Mhm.
And it's like a lot of them play like League of Legends and stuff like that, and they'll just like do random podcasts or whatever. Like I
Mhm.
think like Scar and Pokimane and Disguised Toast and stuff like that.
That's cool.
I don't know, random entertainment.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I'm the
Yeah.
same way when it comes to Joe Rogan and things like that. It's like I just watch the ones when, Elon Musk shows up or when he talks
Yeah.
about Beeple.
Yeah. Or it's
Yeah.
like there's a cool one with like Rob Zombie, or like the Black Keys was a really interesting one, hearing some of their stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or like the conspiracy theory ones and stuff like that, or
Yeah.
with like the one US pilot guy. That one was like interesting.
Which one is that?
Sully?
I forget his name. The guy was flying. One of the guys who was flying the aircraft that spotted that UFO
yes.
like off the coast or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah, I love that
really?
shit.
I would love to. I would love to hear that one because that was. I mean, that's not even conspiracy theory. I mean, that's a straight up
No.
video from
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
government. They're like, we don't know what this is.
Mhm.
I don't love Joe Rogan. Like I hate that he gives bad people a forum for them to spout their nonsense. You know.
Well, I mean, do you really think he puts that much conspiracy theory out there?
Alex Jones, he's had him on the show a couple of times.
Oh, because of Alex Jones. Is that
Yeah.
why? Okay.
I mean, you shouldn't give wackos a platform to,
Yeah, Alex
spout
Jones
their
is one
nonsense.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I love like hearing from flat earthers and things because like I love
Yeah.
Not me.
conspiracy theory stuff and I just love
Oh.
to hear why people think that the earth is flat and stuff.
Yes, but at one point, something's gonna hit you, and it's gonna be ingrained in your brain, and you're gonna be like, you know what?
You're right, the
They
earth
make
is
a good
flat.
point. The
Yeah,
Earth
wait a
may
minute.
be flat.
Kind of makes you think.
Right?
Oh my gosh, no, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the archaeological guys and like the historian guys that he brings on sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, this is a difficult one, and besides render engines, what is your favorite plugin?
Mm-hmm.
Plug-in. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Whip up the old plug-in, you know.
Yeah, your go-to.
I don't know. I don't use many plugins. It's more just hopping into like SpeedTree or like
That'd probably be a
World
good
Framer
one.
or stuff like that.
Tree's a plug-in, right?
Yeah.
All right, there we go. SpeedTree.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
If you need a plug-in, the Megascans bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you're listening to your podcasts and things, what kind of headphones do you use?
These. They're like the HyperX something. I don't know.
What brand
I
is
used
that?
to have or what is it? Like the Hypers? I don't know. You can see like.
Oh, okay.
Like
I
the
recognize
HyperX,
that. Yeah.
I think like a lot of gamers use like the actual good versions of these. These were just like a $40 random thing that I had used for at home.
Mm-hmm.
In the office, I had a good set of like the studio Audiotronics, like AT50s or whatever they are.
Mm-hmm.
But they crapped out, and like the padding and stuff was like falling apart,
Yeah.
and becoming uncomfortable, and I just haven't replaced them yet.
That's what sucks when you have a good pair of headphones, but the pads start falling apart.
Yeah, it's like, what do you do at that point? Do you like go like arts and crafts mode on it, and like
get some felt and cut a couple?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about your favorite go-to app, your muscle memory app on your phone?
Oh, Reddit, easy.
Reddit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice. Good. What are some of your favorite subreddits?
Yeah.
I love looking at a good like choosing beggar or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Choosing beggars is
Like,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll scroll through like the Rocket League Reddit, see if there's like
Okay.
any new random thing happening that I'm not aware of, because that's like one of my favorite games, just playing.
Oh, see, y'all need to
Rocket
play.
League for spare time.
Yeah. I love Rocket League.
Oh my God, it's so fun.
The one that they released last month, and I think it was just temporary, where you'd hit the ball and then it would shoot right towards the goal,
Oh,
no
Heat
matter where
Seeker?
you hit it. Heat Seeker, yeah.
Yeah.
That is fun. And when
Yeah.
you've got two people playing, so me and my brother will play against people, and I'll just have him follow the goal the whole time, stay in the goal and try and, knock it back and forth. And I, instead of hitting the ball, I run around and try and destroy the people
Yeah.
while that's going on, And it's like, people don't know how to react to that, because both sets of people are trying to, block the ball and stuff. We'd win every time. It was awesome.
Yeah, it used to be like 3v3, and so you just have like 2 back or 2 forward and just start ramming people and causing mayhem.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
It's a
What
fun
was the
game.
question? Oh, plugins.
Yeah.
Oh,
What
well,
was it?
yeah.
Favorite subreddits.
Yeah. Subreddits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, just like random, like all the imaginary like landscapes, or like
Mm-hmm.
mindscapes, or like all those cool ones to see get some inspiration, like
Yeah.
any of those art ones, or like the cool like earth porn ones and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
/r/ don't put your in there.
Yeah. Yeah, most of the time I'm just like scrolling through RL,
Yeah.
seeing what random thing Trump did, or like
Right.
I know.
some
News
cool.
on my phone. I swipe to the right and I get the news. And I just get angry, and I get
Right.
so angry, and then I swipe I swipe left, and I'm like, okay, cool. Now we're back in regular Reddit.
Renders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to filter out a lot of subreddits from the front page.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of like bullshit stuff, and then it's like a lot of stuff I don't care at all about, like the
US politics.
FIFA or like
Yeah.
the football stuff that's always at the top. I was like, yeah, I'm not interested in that in the
Yeah.
slightest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, here's the hard one. Here's the tough one. This is favorite life hack, and I'll give you our usual example from Mitch Myers. You turn the toaster on its side to make some bomb-ass grilled cheese. Do you have a life hack? And it doesn't have to be like that. It could be something about work. It could be anything, really.
I don't know.
It could be in productivity. It could be in day-to-day. It could be something about meditative state, clearing your mind. It could be,
If
any
anyone's
of
got a
that.
life hack for that, let me know. Holy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Half of our life hacks are about just meditating.
Yeah. A lot of people actually
Yeah.
say that's their life hack is meditation. Interestingly
Yeah.
enough. Yeah. Do you have anything
that's
you do?
I don't know. Maybe my life hack for right now is how my camera is set up because I'm using my phone and I cut a hole in a Ziploc bag and take the Ziploc bag to my monitors for webcam.
I
Oh,
wouldn't have
that's
even
great.
known. I wouldn't have even known.
It works pretty
That's
well.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
show you
funny.
guys, but I can't really show you.
Right? Unless you
That's
have a
funny.
mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold up a giant mirror. Or, yeah. All right. Cool. There we go.
Cool.
I think that's
Well,
about it.
Yeah. Calder, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Great
guys.
work,
It was
man.
great.
It's
Yeah.
cool to talk to you about like the studio stuff because I like, you know, I mean the shows that you were a part of, you know, those are a part of my life because I have 2 children, you know,
Yeah.
and it's like it's nice because I'm always wondering about that stuff, and it's nice to be able to talk to someone who has experience in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
And yeah, I find
And you
I'm,
got
like,
great work. You got killer work.
I find I'm like one of like the random people that sort of shifted into like a bit of like the dailies, Octane, like some of
Mhm.
40 stuff that came from that sort of background.
Yeah.
And it seems like
Yeah.
a lot of people just sort of like get in there and like just like sort of like hone their skill in there and like stay in there. Whereas
Mhm.
like, you know, I wanted to reach out further.
Yeah. That's
But
cool.
yeah, it's awesome hearing where like people like came from and stuff and like how they sort of ventured into the avenues. Like in the Dave Ariu podcast we did,
Mm-hmm.
like the one guy's like works at like a football stadium doing like visual stuff for that,
that
and then the
Luis?
spare time.
was it Luis?
Luis.
I think it was Jay Pierce
Okay.
or
Oh.
Aaron Westwood. It's one of those two.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And like the other guy came from like an entirely different background again. It was just like it's so crazy.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, now you have a direct line, so you can say,
know.
in season 2, episode 6 of,
Yeah.
I'm gonna look for your name
yeah.
on every episode now.
Yeah, there you go.
I noticed that
Pause
the
the TV,
character in
be
the
like,
background
See,
moved.
see, kid,
Yeah.
I know this guy.
I know
this
him.
guy.
I know
I
him.
know him.
So,
It's all just bragging rights for me. That's why we have people on the show.
right.
You know?
I know that dude. So, if people want to find you online, what do they need to look up?
Calder Moore or refried spinach, basically.
Is there a
On
story
any-
behind that?
So playing like, what was it, like Reign of Chaos, like Warcraft Reign of Chaos, Frozen Throne. I needed an online name, and I was done using like it was like Red Toad or something before like that. I was done with that and wanted to make a new one.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother's friend was like, "Oh, you should do like refried beans," and then I was like, no, I don't want to do refried beans. And then somehow, like, spinach got, like, mixed in there with, like, the random nonsense conversation little kids have.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, I just kind of used it ever since.
I like it.
You know, I
Like
saw
it.
the name and I'm like, I
Very
wonder
serious,
if it's
yeah.
just like something you had for a while, because you know what will happen is, like, a lot of people are like, oh, I got to come up with my brand, my online persona, and they come up with a name. But some people get popular just under some account that they already have, and they're kind of stuck with
Yeah.
that name, and it's like,
It's like their first AOL name that
right,
they gave you.
like me,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, I love your art. You're Butt Punch 69. It's like, what?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah, I know, but you know, I got 100,000 followers on it. I can't really move it now.
Can't change it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny playing Rocket League. Like, every third match or so, someone will chat, like, have you ever, like, tried refried spinach? Like,
Yeah.
how does that taste like? Like, what is that? It's like, I don't know.
That's funny.
All
I'm
right.
gonna add you on Rocket League.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So add refried spinach and Butt Punch 69. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
probably is a Butt
Yeah.
Punch 69. That's
Yeah.
to see what that is.
I'm not gonna Google it. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, that's
No.
true. Put that safe
So
search
yeah,
on.
I'm on like ArtStation, Behance. You can randomly message me on like Facebook or Instagram, YouTube.
Cool.
Cool.
I think that's all of it. Oh, Gumroad.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna get out of here. We appreciate you being on. We'll
Yeah, man.
we'll have to.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
Yeah. You can rate us on iTunes, leave a review. You can also subscribe on your podcatcher of choice. It really helps get our ratings up. And Tony is saying, please make Butt Punch 69 shirts.
Oh, gosh.
And you can also subscribe to our newsletter. Got a newsletter. It'll probably come out this week. It's on my list. It's on my calendar for a 3-hour block because I know it doesn't take 1 hour now. So look for that. You can say you've been there, done that, got the t-shirt with the Mograph logo tee, the Paul Babb Feel the Babb 2020 shirt. All the profits from that go to Doctors Without Borders, the Render Things t-shirt, hoodie, and long sleeve tee, the That Render is Fire shirt, which you are only allowed to wear, ironically, unless you're shams.
That's your shit.
Now, there is another shirt coming up that I am working on right now, and I'm not going to give any of it away, but our t-shirt services are back up and running, and so I'm designing a new shirt right now. So hopefully people will like that.
The Paul Babb one. We'll see if he wins tomorrow.
Yeah. If Paul Babb doesn't win tomorrow, then we
Yeah.
got to take the shirt off the market.
We got to retire the shirt. Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
keep
retire the
vintage
shirt.
only. Or we could just actually, what we do, we go crypto art, $1,000, $1,000 shirt. I'm gonna change the price to $1,000 on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if you want a Paul Babb Feel the Babb 2020 shirt,
Oh.
then you got to do
Good.
it that way, because remember, all the profits go to Doctors Without Borders. So if you want to buy a shirt
Right.
after that, you'll be making a large donation to Doctors Without Borders.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
That's what we're gonna do. So.
Yep.
And did I cover everything? I did. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, mograph.com. Check us out there, and make sure that you go check out Calder and all his stuff and things. And that wraps it up. Until next time,
Cool.
I'm Dave.
I'm Matt.
I'm Calder.
Have a good one.
Later, yo.
Bye, everybody.
Calder, do you know Shams or
Nope.
Frederic?
Nope.
They're in